Okay, so we'll start with stacks and queues. So in stack, how will be the data stored? It will be stored in last in first out manner. Okay, the element which are stored at the last, they can be removed from the stack first. Okay, otherwise we can call it as fill-low manner also. The element which are stored first in the stack, they will be removed at the last. Okay, so here if you see, first A is stored here. Okay, after that B is stored. Okay, so here after storing B, C also we have pushed onto the stack. Then after that D we have pushed onto the stack. Then E we have pushed onto the stack. Okay, using top pointer, the elements will be pushed onto the stack. Now if you are removing the elements, the top pointer will be useful for us to pop the element from the stack. Okay, when you remove the element, so E is there on the top of the stacks, that will be removed first. Then after that D will be removed. Then after that once again pop means C will be removed. If you perform pop once again, B will be removed. Then finally A will be removed. So here A is the first element we have pushed onto the stack, but when we are popping, A will be popped out at the end. Okay, so where can we use the application of stack? Okay, so the stack will be used for managing the function calls in the system. Okay, in computer, if you have written any program for calling the functions or recursive functions like that, if you have called, then the stack will be used. Okay, so first what will be there, the main function details will be stored on the stack. Okay, so the main function, once if it completes its processing, it will return back the CPU control to the operating system. Okay, so now the frame pointer will point to the details related to the main function. Now from the main function, for example, if we are calling square root function or scanf function or printf function, then what will happen? For that another memory frame will be allocated. Okay, so whatever the local variables for that particular square root function, if you have called square root function, so those details will be stored. Okay, so if you are returning from that function, where to return, that detail also will be stored here. The return address details and all will be stored in the stack. Okay, so in this way, if we are calling multiple functions one after another, we can manage the function calls using the stack. So now let's discuss the abstract data type for stack. Okay, so stack is finite. It's a group of ordered collection of items. Okay, so 0 or n number of elements will be there. Okay, so all the elements one by one will take it from the user and push it onto the stack. So the maximum size will be there for the stack. Till that time, till we reach the maximum size of the stack, we can able to push the elements onto the stack. Okay, always the maximum size will be the positive integer. Okay, so now various operations you can perform over the stack. The first one is you can create the stack. Okay, so you can create the empty stack, whatever the maximum size, for that you can create the stack. Okay, so the next one is if you want to check at any point of time if you whether the stack has become full or not. Okay, so for that is full function you can write. So this function is the stack full or not. When we call this function, it will return either true or false. Okay, so here what it will do, it will be performing, it will accept what is the stack name and what is the maximum size of the stack. Okay, if the total number of elements in the stack, if it is equal to the maximum stack size, okay, then it will return true, either it will return false. The other one is you can write push function for adding elements onto the stack. So for that you have to you have to pass the arguments, what is the stack name and what is the element you want to push it onto the stack. Okay, so for this first we will check whether the stack is full or not. If the stack is full, we will intimate the user that stack is full, we cannot perform push function. Otherwise, what will we do? We will allow the item to be pushed onto the stack in the top position, okay, and we will return the top pointer, okay. So next function is checking whether the stack is empty or not. Okay, so for that we will pass the stack name. So if the stack is equal to the initially the stack was empty, right? When it was created, how it is? If it is equal to the same status, then we will identify that the stack is empty. It means a top if it is equal to -1, okay, then we will identify the stack is empty, so we will return true, either otherwise we will return false, okay. Then the next function is pop operation. Okay, so pop operation will help us to delete the one element at a time from the stack. So for that, first we will check whether the stack is empty or not. If the stack is empty, then what will we do? We cannot return any element from the stack. Otherwise, what will we do? We will remove whatever there on the top of the stack, that we will remove, and will decrement top pointer by 1. So these are the different functions within the stack. Okay, so this is the abstract data type of stack. So the next one is using array. Okay, so here what we have to do, in the create, if here we will see how we can implement it. So previously ADT we have seen abstract data type. Now if we want to implement it, how can we implement? Okay, so the programming statements we need to write. So in the create function, first what we'll do, we'll define the structure. So within the structure only one key field will be there, and the variable the new data type what we are creating is element. The stack will consist of elements. Okay, so that element structure we are defining here. Then how many elements we want to store in that, the maximum size we have to mention, and we need another top pointer. So the top pointer will at any point of time, it will help us to keep track of the top position of the stack. Okay, which element we have pushed onto the stack. Okay, it will point to that. Initially the top pointer will be -1. Okay, and the next one is we are checking if whether it is empty or not. Okay, if it is empty, how will we identify that? For that we need to check that if the top pointer value, if it is less than 0, then it means that the stack is empty. Okay, so otherwise what we have to do, if this is less than 0, it means that if top pointer is -1, we will return true. Okay, otherwise we will return false. Okay, because this function is going to return true or false, boolean value. Then if you want to write the logic for checking whether the stack is full or not, there we will be checking if the top pointer has reached the maximum size of the stack. Okay, then we will return true, otherwise we will return false. So now when you want to add a new element onto the stack, if you want to push one new element onto the stack, okay, so what are the two arguments we have to pass to that function? Top pointer we will use, and we'll be using which element we want to push it onto the stack. Okay, so if the top pointer value, if it has reached the maximum size of the array, okay, then we will identify that the stack is full. Okay, it has to print that the stack is full. Okay, then stack of plus plus star top equal to, we have to increment top pointer by 1, then we will push the new element onto the stack. So the next one is delete from a stack. Okay, so for deleting from the stack, what we have to do, we need to write the for the stack, the terminology involved is pop. Okay, so how will you pop or delete or remove an element from the stack? So for that you have to pass the top pointer. Okay, so if the top pointer is equal to -1, okay, then we will return that the stack is empty. Okay, otherwise what you have to do, whatever the element on the top of the stack, that will return, and then we will decrement the value by 1. Okay, so now let's see how you can deal with the issues involved in stack. So if the stack has become full, we should not immediately tell the user that okay, stack is full, we cannot push any more element onto the stack. No user will like to hear that, right? In the real-time applications and also, for that what we have to do, doubling the array logic we can use. So for that what we have to do, in the stack full function we can write. So here initially if we have allocated some 10 locations for the stack, we can dynamically reallocate it into the double of size. So if the capacity is 10, if all the 10 elements are pushed onto the stack, then 2 into capacity when we give, it will be doubling the size. Okay, so the pointer name is stack and 2 into capacity of the stack size, and each and every element, no, that will be whatever the element type, if it is, whether it is integer type or floating point type, so that we can mention here. And then we have to update the capacity equal to capacity into 2. Okay, in this way we can double the array size. So how can we use the dynamic arrays for stacks? Okay, so that we are going to discuss now. So first we have to create the new data type for stack. Okay, so structure we have to create. So that is a element structure. Within that only one field, that is key, we will be having. Okay, then malloc function. So whatever the maximum size you want to give, initially we can give the size as 1. After storing one element, you can double the size. Okay, so like that you can keep on doubling the size of it. Okay, so the capacity initially it will be 1 and top will be -1. Okay, if is empty function, within it we will check that if top is less than 0, that means if it is equal to -1, it will return true. Okay, in the same way here the maximum size we have stored in the variable capacity. Okay, so in the isFull function what will we do, if the top pointer value is greater than or equal to capacity, okay, then what it means, we have stored all the elements. Okay, all the positions in the stack, it is filled. Okay, so here we will be using next we will move on to, so now we will move on to the queue concept. So till now what we have seen, we discussed about stacks. So I will give introduction for queue now. Okay, so for queue we will use the first in first out logic. So the last element will be last out. Okay, so here we'll make use of two pointers, rear and front pointer. So assume that first we are inserting a value A, then we are inserting value B. So the front pointer will point to A only, but when you are inserting the new element, rear pointer will be incremented by 1. Now one more element C, if you are inserting, rear pointer will be incremented by 1, but front will point to the front of the queue. When D you are inserting, rear pointer will be incremented by 1. Okay, so now when you are removing, the front element A will be removed. Okay, so now B will be moved to the front of the queue. Okay, so like this the queue will be managed. So where can you use the queue in the real time? Okay, for job scheduling you can use. Okay, so in the computer or in the network routers, right, when the data packets are moving one by one, okay, so for that and all router queues will use, or in the CPU pool, okay, or in the CPU bank, if the or in the cloud of systems, right, so job has to be completed one by one, mean they'll be in the queue. Okay, so the queue is represented here like queue of 0 1 2 3. So initially job 1 is added, then after that job 2 is added. Okay, so initially front and rear will be -1. When we are adding job 1, then rear pointer will be incremented by 1, so it will become 0, but front pointer will be -1 only. Okay, so whenever we want to remove the element, front pointer will be incremented by 1 and then it will be removed. Okay, so now when we are here job 3, if you have if it is added, that time rear pointer will be incremented by 1 and it will become 2. Okay, so in this way the job scheduling will happen. Okay, so it can be used in real-time applications like in the CPU processing and all, it can be used. So now let's discuss about abstract data type of queue. Okay, so it is again finite collection of elements. It's an ordered set. Okay, 0 or more values will be there in it. Okay, and here the maximum size of the queue can be set by the abstract data type, whoever defining, no, we can set it. So when we are creating the queue will be created as empty. Okay, so whatever the maximum size we have given, for that size it will be created. Okay, then the next one is full queue. Okay, so there we want to check whether the queue is full or not, whether all the elements are filled in the queue to the maximum size of the queue. We want to check. Okay, so for that we will pass the queue name and what is the maximum capacity of the queue will pass. Okay, so the total number of elements in the queue, if it is equal to maximum size of the queue, maximum capacity of the queue, then it will return true, else it will return false. Okay, so the next one is adding or inserting new element into the queue. So for that we will pass the queue name and what is the element. Okay, so if first we will check before inserting new element into the queue, we will check whether the queue is full or not. If the queue is full, we will tell the user that queue is full, we cannot insert the element, or we can write the logic that doubling the queue size. Okay, otherwise what we have to do, we have to allow the user to insert the item into the queue. So where will we insert? We will insert at the rear end. Rear end is the back end of the queue. So front will be the beginning of the queue. Okay, so next function is empty queue. Okay, so this function will help us to check whether the queue is empty or not. If the queue is empty, means like when we have created the queue was completely empty, no elements will be there, and the rear and front pointer will be -1. So if the status is like that, then we will return true, else we will return false. Okay, the next function is delete queue. Okay, so here the delete queue function will return after removing the element, it is going to return what is the item removed from the queue. Okay, so for that we are going to call the isEmpty function. So that function will check whether the queue is empty or not, and it will return either true or false. Okay, so if the queue is empty, then we cannot remove any element. If the queue is having some element, then wherever the front pointer is pointing to, okay, so we'll increment front pointer by 1 and then we'll remove the element from that position. Okay, so here the front and rear pointer or the they will point to the location in the queue. Okay, so now let's see how can we implement the queue using the array. Okay, so you can define a structure for defining that element. So typed of structure element will give, and the fields is only one field. The key field will be there within that structure. Okay, and how many elements maximum you want to store in the queue, that you have to define as the array. Okay, so and rear and front pointer you will set to -1. Okay, and how will we identify the logic for checking whether the queue is empty or not? If front and rear pointer, if both of them are equal, okay, it means like if both of them are equal, then we'll identify that the queue is empty. Okay, and how can we write the logic for checking whether the queue is full or not? If the rear pointer has reached the maximum size of the queue, then it means that it is full. Okay, so how can you write the function for inserting an element into the queue? So you have to pass two arguments. The first one is what is the rear pointer value, and what is the second one is what is the item you are passing. Okay, so if the rear pointer value is equal to the maximum capacity of the queue, then we will call the function queueFull. So the queueFull function, within that we can if you want to just print to the user the queue is full, you can print, or if you want to double the queue size, you can do that. Okay, else what we want to do, increment the rear pointer by 1. Okay, so then in that location element we are going to store. Okay, so the next function is removing the element from the queue. So for removing the element, we have to pass the front and rear pointer. So if front and rear pointer, if both the values are same, we are going to call the queueEmpty function. So within the function we'll just print that queue is empty. Okay, so directly if you want to print it here, you can print it, or you can put it in the queueEmpty function. Okay, else what you have to do, increment front pointer by 1. Okay, then from that location whatever the queue content, you return it. Okay, so that will be the removing of an element from the queue. So now what are the drawbacks here in the normal array what we have seen? Okay, so here if you see initially the front and rear are 0. Okay, so now you keep on storing the elements. Okay, so now you have inserted 1 2 3 4 5 6 like that elements you have inserted, and after that you have removed the elements. Okay, so when the here the condition what we are checking is if rear is equal to maximum queue size. Okay, so that is the queueFull status we are checking. That is like it won't work if the queue is empty and if it has reached the last maximum size of the queue. Okay, so what we have to do, the queue is empty, no elements are there in the queue, but here has reached the last position in the queue. Then what we can do, wraparound concept we can use. So for that only circular queue we can use. Okay, circular queue concept come into place there. Okay, so now in the circular queue what we will do, all the time we will be leaving one space from the front of the queue till the end of the queue, between them. Okay, always we will keep the one memory space empty to identify the full queue and the empty queue. So here if you see, this is a circular queue, so job 1 2 3 4 5 they are stored here. Okay, so now if you have removed job 1, job 2, job 3, job 4, if you remove, okay, so if you want to insert new elements, we keep on inserting. From after the job 5 we can start inserting the new elements. Okay, so now in the circular queue concept, how will we add new element into the queue? We'll pass the front and rear pointer, and we'll pass the item element whatever we want to put it into the queue. So here the rear pointer in the normal queue, we will just if you want to insert a new element, we'll just increment it by 1. But in the circular queue, how will we do? Rear plus 1 mod maximum capacity of the queue will give it. Okay, so that will help us to perform the wrap around. Okay, if it has reached the maximum size of the queue, then it will go to the front of the queue. Okay, so after doing that, after updating the rear pointer value, we will check the front and rear pointer value are same. If they are same, then it means that queue is full. Okay, then we cannot allow the insert operation there. Okay, so if not, then what I will do? Queue of rear. Whatever the rear position we have updated, in that location item we will put. Okay, next one is delete from a circular queue. Okay, in the delete function, what we will for the delete function, we'll pass two arguments, front and rear. Okay, so here we will be checking if front and rear, if both are same initially itself. Okay, we are not updating front or rear value, we are just checking if front and rear, if both of them are same, then we will intimate the user that the queue is empty. We cannot remove any element from the queue. Okay, otherwise what will we do? Front equal to front plus 1 mod max queue size. Okay, so in from that location we will remove the element from the queue. Okay, so in this way the circular queue can be used. The next one is dynamic circular queue. So in the dynamic circular queue, what we'll do, initially we'll allocate the array for queue using the dynamic memory allocation. Then at any point of time the queue has become overflow, the queue has become completely full, then what we will do, we'll double the size of the queue and we have to copy the elements also accordingly. Okay, so here what we will do, we'll create a new queue, then whatever there in the second segment, that we will copy to the front of the queue, and both the first segment and second segment, both of them we have to copy to the new queue. Okay, so here if you see A, B, C, D, E, F, G, these elements are stored in the circular queue. So if you horizontally, if you write the circular queue, you can see that A and B will be there at the end of the queue. Okay, and C, D, E, F, G. So there are two segments of queue here in the circular queue. Okay, so the front is pointing to 5 and rear is 4. Okay, so the beginning of queue is from 6 and the end point of queue is at 4. Okay, so now what we have to do, we have to double the queue, then we have to copy this A, B into 0, 1, and after that C, D, E, F, G we have to copy. Okay, so after copying that, we have to write that capacity is equal to 2 into capacity. Okay, so here if you see for the circular queue, same logic we will use. For add queue we will be using we will pass the element, so rear equal to rear plus 1 mod capacity. Okay, then after updating the rear pointer value, if front and rear, if both of them are same, then we will call the queue full function. So queue full function, it will double the queue size and it will copy the first segment of circular queue to the front of the queue, then after that second segment will be copied. Okay, if if the queue is not full, then what will happen? In the else part you have to write the whatever the element that will be copied to queue of rear. Okay, so in the queue full function, what we are doing, new queue will be created dynamically. what is the size of it? 2 into capacity of the element size. Okay, and that memory space address will be copied to new queue. Okay, so here we are checking, is there any wraparound is there or not? Okay, if there is no wraparound, then only one segment is there in the circular queue. If there is a wraparound, there are two segments. To find out wraparound is there or not, you have to find out front plus 1 into capacity assigned to start, and start value, if it is less than 2, no wraparound. No wraparound means only one segment of circular queue. Okay, so from wherever the queue is beginning, that we will just copy to the new queue. Okay, otherwise what we will do, there are two segments. So queue plus start till the maximum size, that will be the first segment that you copy to the new queue. Then from the front of the queue till the rear end, whatever the element is there, that will be the second segment that you have to continue in the new queue. Okay, after the first segment, then you have to initialize the capacity. Okay, capacity you have to multiply by 2 because we have double the queue size. Okay, so in this way, the doubling of queue and copying the old like queue which has become full now, that queue we are copying to the new queue. Okay, so with that we have reached the end of